Hi, Rob here from Bike Flash, and big news, SID212 in the Ford vehicles and SID212 Evo is now available without posting the ECU away. So these can be unlocked directly on Flex Auto Tuner as of earlier today, I think, and KES 3, which was the pioneer of it. We weren't expecting that. So we've heard of a few of these going wrong. People having write failures while unlocking or write failures while putting a mod file on. So I think what we're going to do today is, this is a SID212 Evo. We're just going to go on a little adventure together. I'm going to try and unlock it with Flex and see what happens, and also just give you a run through as to the process that's involved. So first and foremost, you will see I have the Flex software open here. There is OBD and there is Bench as options. OBD is the same OBD protocol that you used to have access to for writing after they've been posted away for unlock. So the ECU to be OBD written still needs to be unlocked, but now we have, which we didn't have before, a bench protocol to be able to unlock them. So you have the same virtual read that you had OBD. You've also got a real read on the bench. I believe that takes a lot of time though. Then you've got write, obviously, update file, and unlock. So unlock is what we're going to focus on. So let's have a look at the wiring manual. And first and foremost, we will wire this ECU up so we can try and give it an unlock. If you're not familiar with flex wiring, you can hover over these pins to see where they are on the flex box. So that is going into A2. We're going to have a larger power feed by the looks of it, which will be that one, to go into A1. So we'll put that in there. Then we will have a ground in A5. I find it easier to put all the cables into Flex first using the correct color cables, and then you can just make all the ECU connections afterwards. But I think everybody's got their own personal preference. And then we'll have a blue one going into B2, which will be one of the CAN lines. And then let's try and find one with a plug already on it. A yellow, which will be the other CAN line, going into B1. So I've got all my cables ready, Flex end. So let's have a look. Is the ECU the correct way up? No, it is not. You can rotate these diagrams, by the way. There's a rotation here. I prefer to just turn the ECU upside down. So bottom right is power. Top right is ground. 2 along here is power, followed by the 2 CAN lines. So we'll stick that one on here. We will try and squeeze this one along as well. There we go. I don't know if you can see that very well. Turn that back that way. Due diligence, let's just give it a check. 1, 2, red, blue, yellow, red, black. So we'll stick that down there by the microphone. Close the manual. Flex has its USB into this computer and power, so we will click connect and see what happens. Fingers crossed. This is my first SID212 experience. We've done a lot of files for them through the file service. Okay, so that has gone stunningly well. Let's click connect again and let's have a look at the voltages here. So that is not drawing any power. We're only drawing 0.2 amps, you see, so let's double check again. It's not a very good demonstration, is it really? We've probably got a broken cable somewhere. Or a broken ECU. We bought this as a scrap ECU for demoing, so maybe this video is going to become pointless. Because maybe we have a dead ECU. Ah, there we go. Right. I think we've got a power cable that's dodgy because I've just wiggled that and we're now away. That, or I didn't have it quite in the right place. So, ECU needs to be unlocked in bench. Press OK. Put that there. So, let's save this console. We always recommend we save the console. First of all, our file service asks for it, but also, if something goes wrong, we at least know what calibration code we'll be after to recover it. So I'm going to save this on the desktop as SID212 console. And let's click unlock. And let's see what happens. This may take a little while. If it does, I will go and do some work, speed up the video and come back when it's done. Well, at least something's happening. Erasing, this is the dangerous bit. Anybody that's done tuning for any length of time knows that you want to see writing start after erasing. I don't think that feeling inside you of, is this going to write, ever quite goes away. Although when you've recovered enough ECUs over the years, you start to panic less. Okay, so that's unlocking. It doesn't look like it's going to take too long, but I am going to go and do some work. We'll speed the video up and we will catch up afterwards when we can see what's happened. So it looks like we're getting to the end of the unlock. So let's see what happens. I believe this is where people have seen the failures. I think it restarts the ECU now. From the logs I remember seeing people sending to our support desk. So let's see if this one works. Right, restarting ECU. This is what we've heard, and then I believe they come back and have a problem. So the Flex is currently powered off. Now it's powered the ECU back on again. Restarting ECU again. Is this good? Is this bad? Do we have a problem? Who knows? Find out though, won't we? Restarting ECU again. Is this normal? Do we have a problem? What are we going to be greeted with? It says prepare data okay. I think this is working. I think it's just a long unlock process. Famous last words from me. ECU prepared successfully. I'll carry on doing some work and we'll come back to this. So here we go again, 3 sections again. I don't know what it's doing. I mean, I suppose what it's doing is very proprietary information to the tool manufacturer, but what I mean is I don't know why it's doing it again. But I haven't seen this before. Maybe this is normal. Maybe it does something and then does something else. We'll see. Well, we need to go through this process, so when you guys open support tickets asking what it's doing, we have the answer. Right, so verify failed. We had a support ticket about this from somebody recently where it went through this process, and I believe it left it now in a situation where it wouldn't do anything anymore and it had to be recovered with an update file. So let's click connect again and see what happens. Detecting, so this still talks and it says it's unlocked. So I'm guessing it just didn't verify, but it actually wrote it. So maybe we'll feed that one back to MagicMotorSport. But yeah, in this instance, it does seem to have ended up unlocked. So we will take a virtual read, because I believe the real read takes hours. And we'll try putting a mod file on this and see if it still works. I believe update file, yeah, will allow you to, a bit like Volkswagen, will allow you to update the vehicle. So let's have a look at the calibration. So it's got 625JF. GB. So maybe we don't have that. GF. So it's that software number that it's looking for. So the one ending GF is what it's currently on. So if we wanted to write it back to stock, we could flash GF to it, which looks like the latest one here. The reason I say that is we've had instances through the portal for the support desk where they have failed to unlock and you can't click connect anymore. They won't connect. But clicking update file and then selecting the software version it was on, which is why I said it was important to keep the console so you can see what version it was on, which in this case is that one, has then recovered the soft bricked ECU. So it would be worth saving the console, keeping a note of what that top software number is, because you may need to press update file after it's failed and select that file. The last one that we advised that to under advice from MagicMotorSport on the portal came back as recovered and working, but also the ECU became unlocked as part of that process. So something to bear in mind. I'm going to cut this video here, and what we will do is do a modified file for this and then come back and try and write it. Okay, so we've done a demonstration mod file and I've just clicked write maps and selected that file, and we'll see if this writes successfully. I started this off camera about 1 minute ago at 2:44 if you look at the bottom right, so we'll see how long it takes to write to. It's currently been writing about 1 minute, so 30% of 1 minute, it's going to be about a 3-minute write, isn't it? Yeah, if this works, this is pretty painless to be honest. Probably 15 minutes maybe to unlock. We'll have a look at the timings when we replay the video. Looks like a 3-minute write. So yeah, I mean, even if it took 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours to read, it's significantly quicker than it was a week or two ago where you were posting the ECUs off to your chosen tool manufacturer. The test here really is going to be to re-identify the ECU after it's powered down, just to check that it still communicates. There we go, so write map's finished. We can see the ECU is powered down. So let's go for a connect again and see if it looks normal. And that is indeed unlocked and flashed with a modified file. So that all seems to be working. So yeah, to recap the process, you are essentially going to connect to it via bench mode first, because you can't do anything OBD until it's unlocked. You're going to save the console for the reasons we covered earlier. You're going to do the unlock. Once the unlock is done, you're then going to do a virtual read or a real read. Virtual read being recommended because of the 3-hour read time. And then write back the maps as normal. Now the ECU is unlocked, of course, you will also be able to use the OBD protocol in the vehicle. So yeah, this says the unlocking bench is needed to work in OBD, automatic checksum calculation available. So now if we were in the car, we could take a new virtual read or write our maps file back this way. So yeah, good luck with your SID212s. I might do a video covering other tools, and we might actually try and break this one as well, because I believe there's going to be some pitfalls with these in terms of different tools unlocking them. So I think next we will plug in Auto Tuner and see how it reacts to this ECU, which is already modified and unlocked with Flex. So maybe that's the next video. See if we can break it and see if, once it's broken with another tool, if we can then recover it at least with the tool that did it to start with. So that'll be an interesting little test.